Okay, so this is my old speedometer or instrument cluster. As you guys can tell, I'm actually driving right now from work. And what you have is 0 miles an hour. The RPMs work sometimes. Sometimes they don't work very good. My fuel works. My battery, I don't know, voltage sensor or something, whatever it's called for the voltage, that doesn't work. The temperature doesn't work. And the oil pressure, I think, works sometimes. Now this is the reason why I'm changing out all the little steeper motors. But this cluster already has an insert that I bought a long time ago. So I'm taking this complete cluster out and putting in the one I'm fixing right now. So in a minute I'll show you guys how to take these clusters off of these Chevys. It's a 99 to 2006, it'll be the same thing. Alright guys, so to remove the cluster right there, you guys will notice this trim all the way around. This one's actually really easy to take off. So what you want to do first is crank your steering wheel all the way down. Then all you do, what I do is I grab it from up here and then I just pull out. See? You guys will see it come apart. Alright. Then the next part is put the gear all the way down to first gear. See, first gear. Then you have the play to take this cluster out from right here, and there it is, it's out. So you know, it just clips and holds like this right here. This one, that one, here, you know, they're all over the place. They're not real. This is, on these Chevys, it's extremely easy to pop out. Some trucks have like if they're older, you'll have a hard time taking this out because they're worn by the sun, so you actually can crack them as you pull them out. But on these 99 through 06s, it's usually a really quick and easy job. So alright, so now you got the that panel out, so now you have your exposed cluster. There it is. And let me see, I remember these being 7mm. Where did I have it? Little 7mm. Let me check. Let me make sure it is a 7. Well, you'll have one bolt down here. Yeah, 7 will take care of it. There's one bolt right there. This one right there. Then there's one right there. So just undo that one. There's another one right. Try to put my finger right here. See, you can barely see it, but it's there. Let me see. There. So undo that one, and finally up in that corner right here. So undo that one. Let me undo all 4 of them. I'll start the video. All right, I got the 4 screws. That one right there. The one up there. That one down there. And that one up there. Okay, if you're, for any time you're gonna ever disassemble your speedometer or your cluster, always make sure you write down the actual mileage of your vehicle, just because you never know if you're gonna swap it out with another one, if your computer will read back up from where it started. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case or not, but always make sure anytime you're disconnecting something like that to make sure you write down your existing number, just to when you reinstall something, just to make sure 100% that it's on there. So that's the mileage on my truck. So I'm using this video as my record, so I'll know. I won't do that now. But okay, so now that you have your bolts off, it just slides right out. Now you don't want to pull it straight out, you want to twist it, like lay it down on its back, because right underneath it is the plug right there. So what you want to do at this point is get it off to the side, to the left side, or up, there's up top, set it up there, and you want to make sure you put your truck back on park and cue the power to the truck. Keys off the ignition. So that way once these turn off, you're okay to unplug it. Just so that there's no power at all going into that cluster when you disconnect it. Alright, so once you have done that, on these, it's very easy. You just squeeze these 2 together, squeeze them, and pull out. There it is. See, so when you squeeze these little clips right here, you're releasing the clamp from the switch. So there you go. You got the cluster out. Mind this cable. This cable is, remember I mentioned earlier, this is aftermarket. It's a dimmer. I used to have it plugged in to a little dimming switch, and all of these would light up like a glow blue, and they would get bright or dim depending on how I wanted to show. But so yeah, don't mind that cable. That won't be in your truck unless you already have one. So that's it. Alright, so I have both clusters here. On this one, I'm going to show you guys how to take this one apart. You don't need very many tools, just, if anything, just a small flat and a hook. The Phillips, I just have it here just in case, because usually almost everywhere there's a Phillips screw. So what you want to do first is you want to pop out all of the sides for the face right here. So you take your screw, your flat screwdriver, pop that out, push 3 up on the top. These 2 are the trickiest ones right here, but I think I had already broken this one before the last time I tried to install this, but it's kind of hard. If you do it just like that, squeeze in and then pull out just like I did, that was pretty quick actually. Same thing on this one. Another thing you can do is get like this hook, stuff it in from this set area right here in, and then push down on the black plastic, and then with your fingers push it out. so I had broken this one before. Alright, so there you have it. Cover is off. And actually I'm going to reinstall this one onto the other cluster because the other cluster, never mind, I'm not going to install it. I just noticed it has the nice silver. I had a little crack right here, but I think that this will cover up with the bezel, so it's alright. Alright, so that's the way you get this. The next step is to get these needles off. What you want to do though first is take some tape. You don't want to use duct tape, but that's what I use right now because I don't have anything else available right now. But you put your needles all the way down to where they stop at 0. You can feel them when they have the resistance. So you put that down right there. You reinstall them in exactly the same spot, and the minute that you plug it in, it's reading a good reading. Okay, so this will come right off. Right now it won't though because I have this plastic on there, but once you take the needles off it will. So to see how this one is all the way to the right, you want to spin it all the way, and you could feel it snapping like as it goes there. This one just had a couple of them. This one's good. This one has a lot. There. Alright, so then your next step is taking a pen. Or pencil, whatever you have on hand. If you're using the other kind of tape, you can write on it with the pencil. And you want to mark the very tip of where these needles are at. Alright. Your next step, once you do that, is to take some kind of, if you have one of those special tools that are for this, you could use that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a fork, put some tape over it like this. I'll make a cutout so I can slide it in there. But what you do is you slide this in just like that, and then you snap upwards. See? There's one. Two. Three. If you don't want to come off when you're doing them in one direction, then go ahead and pull up and then down. Just kind of tug on them a little bit. There you have it. All your needles are out. And you're good to go to the next step. So I mean, in my case, I'm taking off this aftermarket cluster. So you would be doing the tape thing on this right here. I'm not going to be fixing this one anymore, so I'm not going to worry about taping it up or where the needles are at. So I'll just show you guys the next step, and then I'll start off with this other one once we're leveled out the same spot. So now this, take that one off. All you got to do is just pry up on this a little bit, and then it'll come right off. Okay, so now that you have the cluster completely flat on the bottom side, then you can flip it upwards. Let's just take this all the way off, just so it's out of the way. Alright. So now, you actually use your flat, take these off. Four on top. Three on bottom. There you go. It's the bottom part. And this is where all happens. This is where you have to use your soldering kit. Don't worry about this piece. This usually doesn't come apart unless you're actually messing with you know, if you leave this in place, you won't have that issue. Let me put it back. So there's your cluster, so you take this off all the way. So this is what you'll be working on right here. So these are the steeper motors. I ordered some for this cluster, but I would be using the same ones. If you get them online, you can find them in multiple places, but you just double check that they're for your year and for your engine size or your model, whatever it is. This one came with some extra little light bulbs, which I won't be using. I don't think I have the adequate equipment to replace those, but aside from that, none of them are out anyways on that cluster, so I should be good. This is the little steeper motors. There is 7 of them. I already have one installed over there. Well, not installed, but it's already set on over there. But that's what they look like. Got 4 little connections on the back side. That's what goes through here. And you can see them right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I know what's missing. No, it's 6. I thought that one was one I counted. Yeah. Let me show you guys from up close. See, it's those 4 little pins. Those actually go through the board, and then they get folded and soldered in place. See? So now I'm putting this one aside, and I'm going to pick up on that other one, on the SRT one, that one right there. Alright. I have done the beginning of this already. You guys could see. Got my tape, my markings. So that one's ready to go. Now I just gotta actually change out the steeper motors. Okay. So you guys notice I've already took one off. It's actually very easy if you have the right tools. If you don't have the right tools, it gets a little bit tricky. But let me flip this over. And you can actually see where I've already took one off, and you can see the holes are, the pins are gone. See how there's no pins or the little tips like those. And these I've already took off the soldering from it, but I left a couple of them so I can show you guys how to do it. So here we go. Alright, so I have my Matco soldering gun here. Alright, so what I did, I bought this online. It's like a little sucker. It sucks up all the solder that you're melting off from the connections. So right now I gotta take off these 4. I just did this one right now. So you want to make sure you kind of put the tip right on and around this connection, and you want to kind of wait and see for the solder to kind of melt out, and you can see it kind of bubble a little bit. Once it does that, you put this right in there and you release it, and it sucks up the solder. Okay, so now the solder's gone, and I can move that little tip freely. I'll do 2 more times. I didn't get it all the way that time, but I'm about to. It takes a little bit of practice sometimes. There. Alright, and the last one. There it is. Okay. Okay, so now all 4. See, I don't know if it'll pop out right now, but there's all the little solderers inside here now. One of them just came out when I was trying to pop it, see? Alright, so now that I removed all of these, then those little connections will move freely. So what you want to do is you want to put them straight. Once you get them straight, then you're going to flip this out. That means that this one is now loose. See? There it is. So once you've done that, you want to put your new one in. You got to make sure that you're putting it in the same direction. It's kind of hard. It's almost impossible to get it in the wrong direction just because it has those connections, those little molds right there, that round hole and that oval one. See how it has a small hole and the big hole. So it's kind of obvious that they have to go in the same direction, but wiggle it through a little bit till it's nice and straight and flat. Once you've got it nice and flat. Flip it back over. You'll see how those little tips are back over. So then what you want to do is you want to face them in just a little bit, just so that it hugs the board. They don't come back, they don't come undone. So there it is. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna do all 6 of them and leave them in this like this, so I can come back and solder them all at once. All right, so I'm back. Got my solder and my gun. Put all the new ones in. You can tell these are all the old ones. One way to make sure that you have the right ones, if you guys notice on this ones, all of these have a 45.3 right here with a dot as a point, as opposed to the new ones, they all have a 14 point and an X 5. I mean, so I mean, obviously the number is totally different, but that's one thing to also keep in mind is they're all matching. If you order a new kit and you notice that one of them is not matching, before you put it back together, more likely you put one of the old ones back on. So you make sure you, or you skipped one, so make sure you pay attention to that. So all of these are the new ones. They're already put in place. Now I'm ready to solder. So a little tip that comes through, that's kind of where I'm no professional at this by any means, so don't if I say something wrong or something that's not in context to this specific job, then my bad, you know. But basically I'm just trying to save money and save you guys money by doing it yourself. So what you want to do is you want to put your tip of your gun right on the little tip. You don't want to get it too close to the actual board, because then you'll start burning, you know, the connections and stuff in there. And if you guys look closely on your own, you'll notice that there's a little line going into each one of those connections right in here. You want to make the connection, you want to get the solder from that line into the to the tip that's protruding through the board. So what you do is you put your tip on that, your gun on that tip, and you wait for it to get hot, and you just kind of rest your soldering on the bottom of the tip, and then it should melt on its own when it's ready. See? Try this other one. Another one. When you get sag like this on your gun, just clean it out. Alright, so it might look good once you're done, and the minute you plug it back in, you'll notice that it's not working, more likely because one of those connections wasn't touching properly. So then you basically have to take it back off and just mark which one it is and redo this step all over again. I feel like that one's not touching. You can kind of see where the blob is going. So then what you do is you go resort back to your old pump, the sucker, touch that, and watch it disappear. See how it just kind of went away. So what I'm gonna do this time, I'm gonna push that tip up a little bit. There, I'm gonna try it all over again. Okay, that looks better. That one doesn't look like it got either, so. No, that one looks like it's good now. That might, you know, let me redo it. If you doubt yourself for 1 second, just redo it. It's not worth the trouble to have to come back to it. Okay, now I'm pretty sure I got it. Alright, so I got all 6 of the steepers put on there. So my next step is putting it back together and test fit, or test it and see what happens. Alright. All 3 clips are in place. And up top, there's the 4. There's the 4th one. Alright, so now this is the part where you put the needles back. So, as you see where I had marked it, put it in the little steeper motor just a little bit. See how that's where the that's where it ends. So give it a quick little push where you land it right where it was at. Very light pressure, not that tight. So put a little bit of pressure at first, then make sure that it's all the way towards the end. When as you go, kind of get it towards there. Then push it down a little bit more. And then give it its final, let me see, this tape's in the way. There you go. Give it its final push to the resting. It's close enough. Same thing with all 4 of these. Just a little bit of push, make sure that they're all the way down. Push them down, and then final resting spot and down. Light pressure, make sure it's all the way over. It's close, down. There we go. See, like if this one right now went past just a little bit, I want to take it back out. Then redo it. Just make sure I get it right. Perfect. There it is. So once you've done that, then you can remove your tape. Now if you notice on your thing and it goes past the 0 on the marker, that doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. You want to make sure that the motor itself is at the last resting spot. So the motor will always be past the 0. Well, generally will mostly always be past the 0. Sometimes it'll be right at the 0, but as long as you make sure that the motor is at the last resting spot, you'll be fine, even if it doesn't indicate that it's right at 0. Now, say I go and test this, as I'm gonna do it in a minute. But say that my speedometer, the actual speedometer, is still not working. So then, but you know, the rest of the other stuff works. I'm not just gonna come and tape everything off like I just did and then redo all of it. No, just gonna come and only do this one. So I'll put tape on this one. Do the marking on that one and only that one. Once you have all your needles in place, take your cover. I'm forgetting one piece. Make sure you lift this plastic up. Slide that in. There you go. You snap it back. Okay. Now you can put your so rear, front. And there it is. Make sure you have all locked in place. There it is, it's ready. Now we're gonna test it out and see what we get. Okay, so all I have done so far was just plug in the cluster, set it in place, plugged it in. So now I'm gonna hit the key so I can lower the shifter, slide this in position. Now I'm not gonna bolt this up. I'm gonna test drive it just like it is in case any of these are not working. I can take it off with ease. So okay, but off the bat I noticed that 2 of them are working, 3 of them are working, 4 of them are working. The RPMs is reading, the oil pressure is reading, which it wasn't doing before. The gas is right at when I last saw it, and the battery is reading right around under 14, so it's good. I do have a beefed up alternator on this truck, so I wouldn't be surprised that it reads over 13 on the tester, so they should be good. So right now, you know, the engine is cold, so the temperature gauge should be lower, which it is. It should pick up in a minute as I drive it. I'm not moving, so that's at 0. Is still good. See what I'm saying? I just changed over to drive. However, it doesn't tell you anywhere on there. You see what I mean? I know I don't have 26,273 miles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this reading with my reading. And then I'm going to do the math to figure out exactly from here on, add whatever miles I add to this speedo and add them onto my other one. That way I know the actual mileage for the truck. Obviously, if you're not swapping out speedometers, you're just doing this to fix your existing gauges, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. So keep that in mind. All right, so let's go and see. Let's see if it reads the speed. There it is. It's picking up. You're gonna hear all kinds of rattling and shaking in here because I got the tools that I just used, and then the bezel is all taken apart, so everything is rattling as I drive. But working. All right. All right. So I'm back home. RPM working, speedometer working, fuel working, oil pressure was working, it moves up to 60. Temperature is working, it's rising up as you can tell. So right now I'm just gonna put these 4 bolts back on, the screws, and then show you guys how to put the bezel back on. Alright, the screws are in, so remember, steering wheel all the way down, shifter all the way down to 1, grab your bezel, kind of guide it into place. Then up here, just make sure that it goes underneath. There it is, we got it. Just kind of knock it in there loosely. And then, once you have it all, just align it. Once it's aligned, just start snapping back. A little bit of wiggling and snapping, and the whole instrument cluster or the bezel is back in place. Put it back on park. Shut your motor off. And all the needles back down to 0. Yep. We're good. Success. Also keep in mind, I was going to have this job done by a professional who was going to charge me $150. and then plus extra for whatever extra time he took. But I called him back. I decided to tell him that I would pass on the service. I ordered the steeper motors online. Cost me $32. And literally the time that it took me to record this video. So it's definitely worth it. If you don't already have a soldering kit, you can pick those up cheap on different places. The little sucker, I got that online for $7. You don't have to use a soldering kit like I used. I mean, you can use a good old electricity ran little heater, or the little pins. Flux and the solder is cheap. I mean, I would honestly say that you wouldn't spend no more than $20 on all your equipment. So 30 plus 50, you'd be looking at 30 plus 20, you'd be looking at $50 roughly. Save yourself $100. Something you can get done in 30 minutes or less. So yeah, there it is. Hope you guys like it.